Welcome back to my channel. If you're here for the first time, welcome on board. My name is Charlotte and I'm here to share with you my knowledge about cooking and baking and show you step-by-step videos of all my favorite recipes every week. If you feel like joining my food journey, please hit subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. I've been looking to filming this episode for so long because today I get to make my personal favorite dessert, the Italian classic tiramisu.
Yeah!
I mean, who doesn't like tiramisu? The combination of the creamy and rich mascarpone cream, the coffee-soaked ladyfingers, and the layer of cocoa powder. When done right, it's just heavenly. I guess based on this in the last video, you might have noticed my obsession with Italian food. In every Italian restaurant, tiramisu is like a staple, and I'll always be tempted to order their house-made tiramisu. Well, I'm not sure if they actually make it themselves, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
And let's assume they do.
Most of the time, they were a little bit of a letdown. It's either they're lacking richness from the mascarpone cream, or that the ladyfingers are too dry, or it's just too jiggly because of all the gelatin added to it. Well, enough for the searching. I think we should start making our own unapologetic tiramisu, because we deserve it. Let's have a look at the ingredients that we need for the recipe. We're using two types of alcohol for this recipe, Marsala and coffee liqueur. Marsala is a fortified sweet wine with the fragrance of spices, raisins, and caramel. To intensify the coffee taste, I also use my beloved coffee liqueur. If you are a coffee lover, this is a must-have in your baking because it adds so much character to the flavors. So for this channel, I have a secret agenda that I envision it to be a one-stop for all for your baking fundamentals one day. So today, we've got to learn how to make ladyfingers ourselves to take it off the list. Because when we'd rather save the troubles and buy store-bought ones, it's just become a matter of choice. Well, I named my channel Whisky for a reason, so let's whisk it up. First, preheat your oven to 190 degrees before everything, as it takes time to get the oven to the right temperature. When your oven is on, it's time for the ladyfingers. Essentially, they're sponge cakes in finger shapes. Even when homemade, they usually are baked until firm and dry so that their structures can hold well when they're soaked in syrup. Start by separating the eggs carefully into egg yolks and egg whites. There are two ways to separate yolks and whites. First, you can gently crack the eggs on the counter and use the eggshell to drain the egg white. But be careful here because the eggshell edges are sharp and you don't want to break the egg yolks. Another way to do that is that you can directly crack all the eggs into a small bowl and use your hand to gently pick the egg yolks one by one. You just have to make sure you don't break the egg yolk when cracking the eggs. You're welcome to choose the method that you're comfortable with, as long as no egg yolks and whites are mixed together. Just a little tip here, try to get your eggs into room temperature before doing that, because it will be separated more easily and yield better volumes when whipped up. Then, to make the meringue, we start by pouring the egg white into the mixer with a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Turn on high speed and gradually pour the caster sugar in 3 stages. Caster sugar is a finer form of white sugar. I always like to use caster sugar because its delicate texture makes it excellent for incorporating with other ingredients. By the way, if you don't have a stand mixer like this, a hand mixer will do the job as well. Don't dump all the sugar into the egg whites in one go because we want the sugar to completely dissolve and gradually support the development of the meringue. Mix it for around 2 to 3 minutes, and when you can see this stiff glossy tip in your meringue, you can stop the machine. When your meringue is ready, whisk the egg yolks and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract in a bowl vigorously until it's turned pale and yellow. And then, we gradually fold the egg yolks into the meringue. When you fold, basically you use your spatula to lift the batter from the bottom gently. Take your time here because you don't want to knock out all the beautiful air bubbles inside the meringue. Once the egg yolks are no longer visible, it's time to add in our dry ingredients. Sift 120 grams of all-purpose flour, 12 grams of corn flour, and 12 grams of cocoa powder into the bowl. I usually split this process into a few times so that I can fold the batter more easily. Fold until just all flours are nicely incorporated and we are ready for piping. To pipe the ladyfingers, I use an 18 mm circle piping nozzle and a large piping bag. If you bake often, try to invest in good quality piping bags as they will be your lifesaver. Cut the end of the piping bag and fit your nozzle in, then use the spatula to carefully spoon in the batter. And again, be gentle and try not to knock the air out. Squeeze the batter to the tip with some pressure and tie it by twisting the end. And you can start piping to a large baking tray lined with baking paper. When we pipe, try to leave some gaps between each ladyfinger to allow room for expansion. Sift extra cocoa powder on top, and finally they're ready to pop into the oven. Bake them at 190 degrees for 10 minutes, then turn down the temperature to 150 degrees and bake for another 6 minutes. When the ladyfingers are baking, let's move on to the coffee syrup. I use a combination of espresso and instant coffee powder here to enhance the coffee taste. But if you don't have a coffee machine at home, just double the amount of instant coffee will work too. Gather all the ingredients into a measuring cup and pour hot water to it. Mix until everything is dissolved. After 10 minutes, go check on your ladyfingers. Turn your oven down to 150 degrees and bake for another 6 minutes. This process is to continue drying up the ladyfingers without burning it. When the time is up, take the tray out carefully and allow the ladyfingers to cool down on the bench. Ladyfingers are done, syrup is ready to go as well. It's time to make our delicious creamy mascarpone cream. Put 250 ml of heavy cream, 25 grams of sugar, and vanilla extract in a mixing bowl. Whip them until stiff peak. Be careful not to over-whip it at this stage because don't forget that it will continue mixing when you incorporate the ingredients later. Always leave a safe zone for yourself when it comes to whipping cream. When it's ready, just put it aside in the refrigerator. Then, we put 80 grams of egg yolks and 100 grams of sugar in a bowl and whisk to combine, and put the bowl on a bain-marie. A bain-marie is a French cooking term that means a water bath. To prepare it, fill up 1/3 of a cooking pot with hot water and turn on the heat until it starts boiling. Once it's boiling, turn down the heat a little and keep it simmering. Start whisking until the egg yolk mixture doubles in volume, and you can see it's become thick, pale and glossy, which is also called the ribbon stage. Cool down the mixture a little bit on the bench, and we can add in the mascarpone cheese. Add a 1/4 cup of masala and 2 tablespoons of coffee liqueur. Finally, we can put in the whipped cream and whisk until it reaches the desired consistency. And guess what? This is your mascarpone cream, so easy, right? Now we have all the components ready, let's assemble our tiramisu. Break the ladyfingers into small pieces and place them at the bottom of the glass or whatever containers that you're using. Spoon in the coffee syrup. Use a piping bag or a spoon to add in the mascarpone cream. And just repeat the process until it reaches the top. Finish it off by dusting some cocoa powder. For some extra crunch, I added some dark chocolate shavs as well.
Wow!
So here we go, tiramisu done and dusted. Well, I hope your mood is now better, your dining experience got finer, and your arms probably got stronger. See you next week.